When traveling New Zealand, stargazing is often one of the key experiences visitors dream about. But here's the challenge. Most travelers only know about Lake Tekapo and missing out on incredible alternatives. In this video, I'll show you the top stargazing locations across New Zealand, from world-famous dark sky reserves to hidden gems you probably never heard about. Plus, you hear on how to include them easily into your New Zealand itinerary. Let's get started. Before we dive into specific locations, here are some key facts. New Zealand has 3 official international dark sky sanctuaries, but also many other lesser-known locations to experience stargazing. Some are easy to reach for visitors, others require a bit more effort getting there, but all offer incredible clear southern skies. The best travel months for stargazing is between March and October because of the cooler air and crisper nights. The best moon phase is new moon plus minus 3 days for the darkest skies. Now we have the basics out of the way, let's dive into the real world samples. So here's the first stargazing experience we talk about. It's the Mackenzie country with Mount Cook and Lake Tekapo. It's most likely the most famous stargazing place in New Zealand. It's located between Christchurch and Queenstown. It's around about 4 hours between Christchurch and Tekapo and about 3.5 hours to Queenstown. So it's perfectly located if you're doing that route. So let's quickly go through the different experience options you have. First up is the summit experience. This is basically you do a night tour, which often in the summertime starts about 11 or 12 o'clock midnight and goes well into the morning. It goes up to the Mount John Observatory. The second tour is the crater experience, which is also a night tour from the village. And the third tour option is the dark sky experience. This is actually happening in the village during the daytime. So it's perfect if you either traveling through or if you don't want to go deep into the night, especially for families, obviously. By the way, I will put links to all the sites we discuss into the description box below for you to check them out. Plus, you can download a free travel planning sheet. If you prefer something a little bit smaller scale, then I would suggest the Chameleon tour here in Lake Tekapo. Also, a lot of accommodation providers have access to those tours. So if you check in with them or if you book them ahead, check with them. If you find this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button below to stay in touch for more helpful videos to come. Also, please tick the like button as it helps our channel to grow. Thank you very much. So talking about accommodation providers, some of them actually have stargazing on site. One of them is Lakeside Retreat Mount Cook on Lake 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗏. Another cool option you might want to consider is actually staying in one of the cottages in the area. Dark sky watch is all to do with light pollution. So this area, the Mackenzie country, has extremely low light pollution. So if you stay in these cottages outside the villages, like this one is near 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which is between Tekapo and Mount Cook, you could actually do stargazing in the evening on your own. About an hour's drive from Tekapo is the Mount Cook village, and you could actually do stargazing from Mount Cook village as well. If you've been to New Zealand before and you've done the stargazing tours, please put your comments about your experience in the comments box below. Now let's have a look into some much lesser known stargazing locations. So first up is Great Barrier Island. This is located around about 4.5 hours ferry trip from Auckland Central or a 30 minutes flight. We've got a tour operator here. It's called Good Heavens. Obviously, you would need to stay 2 or 3 nights on the island. It's a bit of a remote place, really. Not many international travelers visit the island, but this is an excellent opportunity to really go deep and discover some of the more scenic places. Obviously, there's very little light pollution, so this is a location you might want to consider if you have a little bit more time in New Zealand. Another place with very little light pollution is the central part of the North Island, here the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 National Park. If you get an accommodation like this 𝗦𝚋𝘂𝘂𝗁𝗲 cottage, it's a perfect place for you to stay a couple of nights and experience not only the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 as a destination, but also the 𝗦𝚋𝘂𝘂𝗁𝗲 with the accommodation located outside the village. Another location on the North Island is the 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗶 area. It's around about 2 hours drive from Wellington, north from Wellington, and this is also one of the internationally recognized stargazing sanctuaries. And this tour here with Star Safari, you can do a 𝗦𝚋𝘂𝘂𝗁𝗲 tour here as well. It's all laid out here on their website. I'll put the link in the description box below. Back to accommodation, actually, it's often really underappreciated that New Zealand has stunning accommodation. This is one of them. This is called Pure Pot, and look at that. It's outside the village of Rotorua, and you're really middle of nowhere. And obviously, this Pure Pot is surrounded by glass. It has a glass ceiling, glass walls. It's totally remote, and you really can experience the night sky while you're sleeping. And so this is something you might want to consider as well when you're planning your holiday, especially with Rotorua. It's a place where a lot of people go. By the way, the Pure Pot system, they have around about 16 locations throughout New Zealand. Look at that. So on the North Island as well as the South Island, you would get a similar night sky experience with all of them because they're all built the same way with a glass ceiling, glass walls, everything glass. So you're basically looking into the sky while you're sleeping. Now let's head back to the South Island with a couple of more stunning locations for you to consider. So on the eastern coast of the South Island, Kaikoura. Kaikoura is obviously famous for the whale watch, but you can also do night sky tours here in Kaikoura. It's located outside the village, so the light pollution is extremely low, and it's a beautiful experience, and it works really well with your overall South Island itinerary. Just a general word with stargazing in New Zealand, especially in the South Island, there are quite a few options around. So even in places like Dunedin or in Geraldine, there are locals often do those stargazing tours. Just check with your accommodation provider when you book it in. This is yet another opportunity for you to do the stargazing, especially if the weather conditions are right. One of those smaller locations is 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃. 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 is located around about an hour's drive from Queenstown, so you could stay there, you could stay overnight, and this is a stunning place to experience the night sky, especially obviously if the weather conditions are right. And you can do other things here as well, like the Rootburn Track, there are the Dart River safaris, so you can easily incorporate the night sky experience with other tours and activities in that region. So the next location is one of my favorite ones, and so I'm a little bit biased and I will go a little bit longer on that one. So far in the deep south of New Zealand is Stewart Island. You can either get there with a flight from Invercargill around about 25 minutes, or you can take a ferry over from Bluff to Stewart Island. Stewart Island is a nature's paradise. Most people come to the place for walking, for the bird lives, but also night sky watching is something you can do on the island. I recommend you have at least 2, 3, 4 nights on the island to really combine the night sky watch with the bird tour. Like you can do a kiwi watch tour, you can do the hikes, etc. I've done a dedicated video on Stewart Island up here for you to check it out if that's something for you of interest. Obviously, the night sky is beautiful down here in the southern part of New Zealand because the light pollution is extremely low. Now, here are some practical tips to maximize your stargazing experience. First, check the moon phases. A new moon provides the darkest skies. A full moon is beautiful, but stars are not as bright to see. Second, the weather is everything. Stargazing requires clear skies, and New Zealand weather can be unpredictable. So build in flexibility into your itinerary. If you have 2 nights at one location, you increase your chances of at least 1 clear night. Third, book tours early, especially the popular spots like Mount John Observatory. These experiences book out weeks or months ahead during the peak season between November and March. And finally, layer up. Even in the summer, New Zealand's night temperatures can drop significantly, especially in higher altitudes. Bring a warm jacket, hat and gloves. So here you have an overview and where to find the best stargazing spots in New Zealand. Now you want to bring this knowledge into your overall itinerary. Therefore, check out my sample itinerary playlist up here for inspiration. Also, if you need some help with your travel planning, book a time with me to get your itinerary structure right. See the link in the box below. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next video.